Okay, cuts section 11. Let's go a little bit over the main features, the main functionalities of a typical outdoor type of GPS. In this case, I'm using the Garmin GPSMap 60CSX, like a big number there. Basically, this is like a decent outdoor unit. It comes with a nice color LCD, comes with a high sensitivity receiver, which is good. I mean, many of these devices, or handheld devices, so they have to be portable, so they have to be small. That means the antenna has to be small, which means the signal is not always very clear, especially again when you go into a dense jungle, right, where you don't have a clear view to the satellites. Plus, again, in this eastern Ghats, we'll be walking 100 meters below the hills in some narrow valley, so visibility to the satellites, if you might get 8 to 12 satellites on a plane surface, you might be lucky to, as you can see there, to only get 3 or 4 in a deep valley. And if you have less than 3, remember, bunk, you will get a question mark. You don't get your position anymore. Okay, so let's take a look now. So typically when you switch on a GPS, it will need some time to start, not to boot up, but it will need some time to get a proper lock on the different satellites. So here basically, the center will be your current position. You will see where is east, where is south, west and north. Right, so, I hope everyone is familiar with at least the 4 directions. So you will see where all the GPS in the American Department of Defense satellites are, their current position. So again, as long as you have a clear view to 3 satellites, you will eventually get your position. The more satellites you see, the more accurate your position will be determined. Again, as you switch on the GPS, especially after a cold start, when it has not been used like for several minutes, then it will have to start the satellite scan from scratch, and then it might take up till 2 minutes actually to have a proper lock of your position. So here basically you see all the satellites in color for which it has a proper position. Like number 25 is there for some reason. Maybe there is a tree or some mountain peak between us and the satellite, so that this one has no signal at all, or there is a problem with the satellite. I don't know. You can also see here that the signal level to the different satellites varies. Number 27, which is close to that 25, has a pretty weak signal. Number 3 and number 49. These satellites will have like a very clear view, because typically I guess they are pretty much on top of us, and we'll probably have a very clear view to those satellites. So after 2 minutes you will see that this location, plus minus, this is not the location obviously, the location is shown here. So here we are at 39 degrees north and 101 degrees west. So this is probably somewhere in the US, right? 101 degrees is far away from London towards the west. North 39 degrees is a bit above Chennai. Chennai is 12. This is probably somewhere maybe New York or someplace. So as you switch on your GPS and as it keeps refining your location, you'll see this plus minus. This is actually the error. So you might be plus minus. In this case, it's 15 feet. You might be 15 feet, right? 3 feet is 1 meter. So you might be having an error here on this position of plus minus 3 meter, which is the best you can get on a civilian GPS. Basically, right, typically this will start with 100 meter, 50 meter, 20 meter, 30 meter, and if you really get sufficient number of satellites with a good visibility, you will have the best kind of accuracy on your latitude and longitude of 3 meters, which is the best you can get with a civilian GPS. Right, so satellite screen is like one of these typical screens on any GPS, which will show you how many satellites you see, what is the strength and the position, as well as the accuracy. Please always keep this accuracy in mind. Don't think, like the position on the map where they show my location is the exact position. It will always be an approximation. And if the approximation is sometimes hundreds meters plus minus, then obviously always take into account that the stream might not be where you think it is. So that's one thing. Next thing is the map screen. So okay, this again like not an Indian location. This is an American location, because in America as well as in Europe you will have nice topo maps, right? See these altitude lines here, the topo lines. These are available in this GPS downloadable vector format for the whole of the US. I guess in India they might eventually do the same, but this might take some more time because, I mean, how many people are trekking here? Not that many. So, I mean, it takes a lot of time to make these maps, and, I mean, unless there are customers to pay for these maps, I don't think anytime soon they will start making these maps for India. So here basically you see like a map screen. Map screen is your major screen on a position. It's going to show your current location, which is not visible here. Let me just take another screen. No, I don't have it. But normally your current position will be shown as a black triangle. So somewhere here you might see like a black triangle. The point of the triangle will actually indicate typically your the line of direction. That is very useful. That actually, you know, right? You don't only see your position, but you also see from the current position to which direction you're moving. So you can actually clearly see as you move, like to where you're going. So that's why they typically use a triangle instead of a symmetrical dot to give your position. So say I'm here. If I'm here, it's very useful for me to know, because I know that I'm like, say, you always have to look at the scale, because you can be looking at different zoom levels. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. So never think that this is 1 centimeter corresponds to 30 meter or 50 meter. It depends on the scale, guys. So in this scale, we have 800 feet for this centimeter here. 800 feet means roughly, I guess, 270 meters, right? 1/3. So if I would be here somewhere, then I would be around 400 meters away from this round knoll, whatever that means. I think that's some kind of reference point, some kind of landmark. Alright, so the map screen is useful. It will basically show a map, built-in topo map if it's available. So in case of India, it will just be a blank screen. That's why it's important that we draw those lines. Remember, in the first few sessions, we draw the streams, we draw the peaks, so that at least in this blank screen you will get some kind of a reference point, some peaks, some ridges, some streams, some rest houses, some old British forts, some old jeep tracks, so that at least you can know how far away you are from nearby landmarks, basically. Hold on your questions a little bit later. Let me speak in this session, and then we'll have a Q&A. So again, as you, walk in this map, right, in this downloaded map, which is in the memory of the GPS, you will actually see your position being traced. This red line will typically show, like, from the beginning where you started switching on the GPS till the end, you will see how you have been walking. You can see this guy has been smart. He has been walking nicely along the topo line. So he is a lazy guy who didn't want to climb up or go down. He is basically me walking between two topo lines. So he'll be walking within maybe plus minus 20 meters. So this is also useful, right? Because when you come home, you'll be able to download this trail, and you'll be able to see it like in Google Earth or in Google Maps where exactly you have been walking. In addition to the trail, which you can, the trail is nothing more than a set of points, which you can set every 20 meter, every 50 meter. You can have different precision. The higher the precision, of course, the more frequent you will start putting dots. In addition to that, you can also mark waypoints. You can actually, if you discover some important fall, some nice water pool, you can, or the campsite, or the point where you find drinking water, then put a dot, a point there, a flag, just like we put balloons in Google Earth. You can put flags in any GPS to identify one specific location, which will be useful for future visits to that place typically. Okay, I'll show you some examples of that in a sec. Here again, we have seen this, right? GPS will also be producing the same standard GPX files. If you download the trails and the waypoints out of the GPS onto a PC, you will get these points here. Right? You will see somebody has marked the point false at an elevation of 34 meter height. Whoa, that's very low, I would say. And depends on the unit. I assume that this is meters. And at a location somewhere, right? This is nearby. Probably Nagala, 79 degrees. It's time 79 degrees. Out of time. Let us break here again and go to the next section.